Hi everybody, it's Gail from Gail's Bookish Things. I'm back this morning with the final wedding guestbook junk journal project we've been working on. This is part 4 and the last. If you're just joining me, the other 3 videos are up and I'm just kind of showing the step-by-step process I took to make my daughter's wedding guestbook album. Or what I guess it's just a guestbook for a wedding. So yesterday, I left off with showing you that, I'm trying to remember if I had sewn in the signatures. Not sure, but I will show that now. So this is like a pamphlet stitch. There's 3 signatures, which are the little booklets that go inside a bigger book. You hear that term a lot in the junk journal community. So you can see the stitches here. Now there was another way I could have done this where those were actually sewn into a separate piece and then glued in to the inside of the spine, but my daughter wanted the stitching to show. Unfortunately, even though I said to be really careful when doing the holes so that everything lines up, I still managed to get some of them outside of this ribbon. I would like to have had it all on the ribbon. This is a waxed linen thread, and I think it would have worked really well with this creamy satiny lace. I mean, it's okay. It is a homemade project, and I'm really not a perfectionist, but then it bugs me when things turn out like this when I'm doing it for somebody else. So, but she was okay with it. So I got the signatures, I was sewing them in. I remember now, it was after I had finished part 3, and I said that I would come back after the signatures were in. Well, I was sewing those in. I had a book under here, just an old homeschool resource catalog, and it was getting in my way. So I moved that catalog so I could work on this wooden board I have down here. And I didn't know it, but I picked up this book after I had gotten one of the more difficult ones in. Sewing through these double layers of ribbon was a little hard to get the needle through. And I picked it up and I had some smears of fountain pen ink. Not just any fountain pen ink, the waterproof Noodler's Heart of Darkness, which is meant to be non-wash awayable. I was so frustrated, but I showed my daughter and we came up with a plan. And I actually think that although I was upset about that, I think it actually was one of those things that worked out to be a blessing in disguise, because we decided to just do this gold splatter on the cover. So I have this little bit of ceramic coat or serum coat, how you say it, Delta Creatives Wedding Gold. I had that on from when I did a album for another friend and her daughter's wedding. So anyhow, thankfully I had a bit of that left because I was ready to wrap up this project, and I tested it in a little bin first on other paper and it seemed to work. So I just splattered it with gold. It adds to that sort of vintagey flair. I'm wondering if it's a little too reflective to show up well on this. I think it looks good. I actually like it. And then I took a Q-tip, and on a couple of spots where the ink, there were a couple little dots of ink, I just swabbed that. And it worked out okay. And then I got some here, so I just kind of took the Q-tip and just smeared a little ink. And then the back also had some ink, little places. There's a little bit here you can still see. But it's on the back. It's going to get scuffed up anyway. I may Mod Podge this, and then I may leave well enough alone, because sometimes I start to do too much and it turns into catastrophe. At this point, it's good, and she is also happy with it. So I want to show you two. If I can get a good angle, I tied on this tassel. I made this. These are super fun to make. You just get ribbon, string, yarn, strips of thread, have them all about the same length. line them up how you like, and twist, twist, twist till it forms this kind of twisted top. It'll just go into a circle the more you twist. I tied it with some twine, and then I wrapped another piece of this sort of wine and gold ribbon around that. And then I added one of these garment pins, I think they're called, or bulb pins. And then I separated this one piece of beaded string or chain of beads. You just buy them at Joann's, like in a long dangly thing, but it was too long and I wanted to separate it. I tried just bending it and clipping it on, but it had a weird little arch in it. So I just separated them with a little pliers and put them both on the bulb hook. And that just adds sort of a opulent touch with the golden threads. And then there's the toning down a little bit of all the glitz with this kind of coral color and white, and it's either a gray or a deep green right in there. Anyway, that kind of works in overall with her color scheme, and that's just enough of that color to bring out the color that's going to be in the wedding, but focusing on the golden. She really likes the golden things. And so I have vellum here. I went back through and put some of their engagement pictures, and then I added these Tim Holtz word stickers that seemed appropriate. The adventure begins. So this is kind of a combination of a scrapbook and a wedding guest book. And I think I've shown all these before. I just want to show you the added detail. Again, a word sticker. That one says love you. All these blank spaces will be filled with sentiments that people can write on with these white gel pens. And we'll also have Sharpie fine tip markers. This little tassel does kind of get in the way. You probably need to put it up during the wedding like that. So here's another thing. This vellum paper she loved. I think it's just beautiful. Bought that at Joann's, and it's like specially wrapped in cellophane. It comes in a wrapper like this, and I'm sure that glare is going to be bad, but one of those crinkly wrappers, and it's at the paper area. But they're a little more expensive, I guess, because they're a little more to them, maybe a couple dollars a sheet. I just bought one sheet and it turned out to be plenty. Anyway, blah, 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 getting sidetracked again. So I took some of the leftover vellum, and when I cut the page down to size originally, and I glued in these little features on most of the cream pages. So it almost looks like it's stamped on there or embossed or something. And it just dresses this up enough without adding too much, because I want plenty of room for people to write. I decided not to do lines because I wanted them to write a lot if they wanted, or wherever they wanted to. Maybe they want to skip around and find a page they like. So there's more than enough space for guests to sign. But then when it's all over, they can go back, and if there's any blank space, they can fill it in with snapshots from their wedding, or maybe bits and pieces of wedding paper from gifts or cards that people give them. These little things don't always stick on the ends. I may need to touch that up with glue, but that says go with your heart. Again, the embellishments from the vellum page. You can see all the washi. I showed you all that before. Happy together. So that signature ends with that beautiful paper, and you can see their picture through there and also there, and she liked that effect. This is probably my favorite section. And then here's their wedding invitation. This happy life found. I did these little pearl pieces. This is the very center of this whole book, and when I was trying to sew in the signatures with the wax linen thread, and I was struggling with it because of the thickness of all those ribbon pieces, I also smeared black ink on the inside of this, which is just a lot of white, stark white, not even the creamy white of the wedding. So I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, I can't cover that up. And originally we had thought we would glue this together anyway, so fortunately this I was able to just glue that together and hide those smears. Also, the center of this signature where I tied off the linen thread, I knotted it and bowed it, is hidden in here. So it doesn't have to be hidden. It's not hidden in this one, but in this one it is. And this is really cool too. She likes it. It's sort of like a gold gilt. Is it gilding that I'm trying to say? Anyway, like you put gold on top of something. So again, signatures or comments from the guests. They can put pictures here, or it can just be a fun accent page. A few of those sticky half pearl pieces. I tried not to do a whole lot of those. When we were done, she wanted a few more added, but I didn't want to add too much bulk where people might be writing. So I think if they stay towards the center of the book, those decorative pearls won't matter. This little sticker says sweetheart. This one says this is my happy place. Finders keepers. This very moment. This pack of word stickers is from a wedding pack that I bought for 1 or 2 wedding books ago. I did one for my oldest daughter's wedding, and I did one for my friend's daughter's wedding. So for one of those two, anyway, I bought these word stickers that are more kind of wedding themed, I think, overall, because of the white and the gold. And the sentiments on them all are appropriate for this kind of occasion. I love us. So here's the third signature, and here's the knot. This wax linen thread is super good for durability, and because it's waxed, you can like get it really tight and it kind of holds. The wax sort of melds together, I think, in a way, and it keeps that knot from slipping. Oftentimes I have used embroidery floss to do this, and that can be a little bit tricky for me anyway to get it really tight where it doesn't seem like it's going to come loose. So I'm quite fond of using this linen thread, but it is hard to get through when you have a big bulky signature you're sewing in. Worked perfectly for these tiny ones that are very thin. And then here, I like this page especially. This is like the wine color with gold interspersed. The plain gold washi is her favorite. And I cut out, excuse me, a little bit of the gold vellum scraps for there and put a pearl. I think that looks really elegant. Simple but elegant, and I don't know, I'm glad that God gave me that idea, popped that in my head. I'm like, okay, yes, I'm going with that. Love is spontaneous, heart and soul. And then best day ever. So this is from their engagement. Look at her face. She is so happy. And he's kissing her cheek there. And it's so awesome. Anyway, best day ever. So yes, their engagement as well as the wedding. And then I closed or finished off the project by putting a vellum cutout flower there. So overall, I'm happy with this. I still have a little bit of this gap here. I did not sew in these signatures as well as I had hoped. I was really being careful, but something happened, and this one's a little bit lower than these. About 1/4 of an inch. And I don't know. I think you might have seen on my previous video, somewhere along the line, I think I got this turned over. And so the holes, maybe, the markings weren't lining up exactly. But I'm not going to redo it. And it is homemade. It's got the element of, obviously, a homemade book. But I think it's also kind of fun, and it's got some charm, and I think that it's a special thing. This tassel is nice, but that swinging back and forth is a little bit of a nuisance when you're trying to use it. It might look just better sitting up on a shelf at the end of the day. And like I said, when it's on the table, we'll probably just display that above or something like that so it doesn't get in people's way. I'm left-handed. Maybe that's why this is kind of getting a little bit in the way at the moment. But it really kind of finishes it off, and it does hide the fact that my stitching is not perfect. And I think if I ever do this again, I swore yesterday I would never make another book, but I've calmed down since then with my ink escapade. I would just say it's more maybe important what it looks like on the spine, to poke the holes through from this side and go from this side inward. That way I could make sure I kept it on the ribbon. So that's that. Thanks for watching. Please feel free to comment or ask questions if you're interested in doing a book like that and you're not sure about one of my steps. And I just wanted to close with this last little helpful tip. Handy tip is a better word. I lost my Tim Holtz scissors covers. Just a little white kind of cap thing that fit on. I think I was grabbing a bunch of scraps and threw them away and accidentally grabbed that, which was a super bummer because it fit well and it stayed on. But my husband just folded over a piece of cardboard for me, and that's been my scissors case. And it's just been basic cardboard, you know, like from a cereal box or something. So today I had a aha moment, like, yes, use up more washi and just wrap that so it looks like a little more something special. Grabbed a few of the washies that were handy that I felt like using today, and then I went over it with packaging tape. So that's a thought. If you're like me and you kind of get to where you want to use up some of your stash as much as you like it, maybe you're ready for something new, but don't want to switch out till you've used up a lot of your other stuff, you can maybe do something like that, or maybe a little pen case or something. But this works really well because I put this in my Delphonics case and I don't want to cut anything or dull the end of the scissors, so I just did that. Alrighty, well there you go. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time. Take care.